Hey everyone, welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and it has been a little while, but I am finally back with something other than Sean Diddy Combs, and today do I have a bad teachers episode for you. I'm going to be telling you the story of Christina Formella, and as I like to do, I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to start with a little background on Christina. She was born on December 29th, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois, and she was raised in what many would consider a typical middle-class family. It was a two-parent household. She had a younger sister growing up, and she was very athletic growing up as well. As a matter of fact, throughout high school, she played soccer and was an absolute standout soccer player in high school. So good, in fact, that when she graduated from high school, she continued on with her soccer career in college, playing for Concordia University in Chicago. Now, she was also super smart, just prototypical all-American girl, right? She meets a guy in college, and she would eventually marry him. His name was Michael Formella. So she graduates college. She gets a degree in special education. She's going to go into teaching, and she moves on with life. Now, by 2020, she had found her career path, and that was as a teacher of special education at Downers Grove High School in Chicago. So from the looks of it, by this point, she is absolutely killing it, Christina Formella. She was dating one of the most prominent members of the Chicago community in Michael Formella. His family, they own a company. It specializes in food service. They supply condiments and all kinds of other things all over the nation to restaurants and grocery stores, things like that. Over 100 years in business, this company, multi-millions of dollars in value. So she's literally dating a member of a multi-million-dollar family, very well known and very respected, this family in the Chicago, Illinois area. Now, even though she had started her teaching career in 2020, it didn't stop her from going back to school and earning a master's degree, which she did in English. And from all accounts, at this point, very well liked, very popular, very beautiful, all the things. Life seemed perfect for Christina Formella. So perfect, in fact, that by August of 2024, she marries Michael in what can only be described as a fairy tale wedding in Italy. But this perfect life would come crashing down when less than a year later, on March 16th of 2025, Christina, along with her husband, who was in the passenger seat of that vehicle, they get pulled over by Chicago police in her driveway of her very affluent Chicago neighborhood. And this happens. Listen to this clip.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Officer Guzman with Downers Grove. Do you have your license on you?
Tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to explain. I'm sure you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You're Christina?
Yes.
Okay, Christina, do me a favor. Can you step out of the car for me? I know you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You don't have anything on you? You can just grab whatever you need.
Whatever I need?
Yeah, whatever you need. Like your phone, your purse, go ahead and grab it.
Is she going somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we're going to explain everything to you guys. Go ahead and grab it. We're not going anywhere right now. Of course, yeah.
I don't understand what's going on here.
I get it, yeah. You can go grab your things.
Can he come with me?
Yes. You stay there right for right now, sir. Just stay there, but yes, you can. But come on back here.
Should I shut the car off?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Goes off. Okay. Let's right back over here. So, we do have an investigation going on. We have to talk to you about it at the police department, okay? So we're going to explain everything to you there. It's not my investigation. I don't know the full details. We do have to bring you there, though, okay? So I do have to put you in handcuffs and bring you to the police department. Just to Downers Grove.
Handcuffs?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
I'm like willing to go with you.
I get it, yeah. Unfortunately, we have to do it that way. So do me a favor, we just take this off.
Can I ask you
Of course, yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not my investigation. Obviously, we're here for a reason. So go ahead and turn around for me.
I'm in trouble.
So right now, you're being detained, and there is a detective that needs to talk to you at the police department. So we'll let your husband know. No, he can just come to the police department as well if he wants to wait for you there.
I'm like,
I get it. You have a lot of questions.
So scared.
Yeah, everything's okay. We just need to talk to you at the police department. That's all. Nothing else on your pocket right now? Anything else?
Just my phone.
Just your phone?
Here.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're heading, sitting back in this car on the other side. Once you get to the police department, you'll talk to the detective and he'll explain everything to you.
But you can't even give me like an idea
At the moment,
what this is about?
Other than that it's an investigation, that's all I can really tell you right now. I'm sorry. I wish.
Excuse me, is my husband coming with?
Yeah, he's taking his phone number down. We're staying in touch with him. We're just going to Downers Grove, so 10 minutes away.
No, I know, but I really would prefer that my husband's with me.
Of course.
Am I in trouble? Like, I'm so lost right now.
I'm sure you are. Like I said, I can't answer you. Talk to my knowledge to how you did. Right now, you're being detained. For an investigation, and we're bringing you into the police department. And once you get there, they're going to fill you in on everything.
So what you just heard was the body cam footage of the officer obviously arresting Christina, and they bring her to the station. And at this time that this occurred, Christina's 30 years old. And Christina discovers after she gets there that she is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a victim who at the time of this inappropriate relationship, when it started, was only 14. So what brought this on? How did the police find out? Was this all a big mistake? Is she innocent and just being accused of this? We're going to get into it. So I'm going to read you the factual basis as they are referred to in this document. Around 11:05 a.m. on March 15th, 2025, victim, and it's redacted, and his mother went to Downers Grove Police Department to report a sexual assault committed by Christina Formella, who was soccer coach and teacher. The mother told officers the following in summary. On March 11th of 2025, the victim's cell phone broke. So the mother purchased a new phone for the victim on March 14th, 2025. She receives this new cell phone. She signs into the iCloud, at which point text messages start populating. At this time, the mother noticed a text thread with a phone number. However, there was no name and no photo. So she starts reading this thread and notices the following messages. The victim, quote, "I love you so much, mama." Unknown number. "I love you so much, baby. Even though this morning was short, it was perfect." The victim, "I know, baby. It was perfect, baby. So perfect." Unknown number. "I love having sex with you." The victim, "I know, baby. I love it so much. It feels so good. It's so passionate. It's so intimate. It's so perfect." So the mother sees these messages, and what do you think the first fucking thing she does? She goes to her son and she says, "What is this and who is this?" And when questioned, the victim disclosed that this phone number belonged to Christina, his soccer coach. The mother was also able to confirm that this phone number belonged to Christina Formella because she had Christina's phone number saved in her phone. She had it because after her son had injured himself in soccer, she had been asking Christina for an injury update. The victim then disclosed he and the defendant exchanged phone numbers, began flirtatiously texting with each other, and ended up having sexual intercourse, according to him at this time, once, inside a classroom at Downers Grove South High School sometime in December of 2023. Now, at the time of that assault, the victim was 15 years old and the defendant was 28 years old. So during the interview, officers learned that the victim had joined soccer in August of 2022, which was his freshman year. and the victim and Christina had been his soccer coach. Officers further learned that Christina had started tutoring this victim, after he had broken his collarbone. Now, according to the mother, he did not continue to play soccer after his freshman year, even though he had played since he was 8 years old, and his grades started dropping, and she couldn't figure out why. So later that day, the Child Advocacy Center investigator conducts a forensic interview with this victim. And during that forensic interview, the victim confirmed that Christina had been his freshman soccer coach. She had started tutoring him after he had broken his collarbone, and he had broken it twice, it says, once his freshman year and another time his sophomore year. The victim said he and Christina had began messaging each other through a school platform, and that she had given him her phone number so they could play an app that was known as 8-Ball Pool Game on iMessage. He said that was around a year and a half prior to this interview. The victim said that afterwards they had began exchanging what he termed as flirtatious text messages. And he said at one time Christina had FaceTimed him while she was in Arizona. Now, according to the victim, he and Christina had developed feelings for each other. The victim said that one morning in December 2023, before school, he met up with Christina in her classroom. He said that Christina had closed the door, which automatically locked, and they had started kissing. He said that he grabbed her butt and she grabbed his penis over his clothes. And then she removed his pants and his underwear, and they both had to remove her leggings. And it was at that point they engaged in sexual intercourse while standing up. The victim said that he was wearing a condom and that they had sex until he ejaculated, and that he had subsequently flushed the condom down the toilet so that it was not in the classroom garbage. The victim said that Christina had told him that she liked it. According to the victim, he had last spoken with Christina in February of 2024, and they had both acknowledged it was wrong. According to the victim, he and Christina had sex only that one time, and he confirmed that it happened when he was 15 years old. He said at the time he believed that Christina was 26 or 27, but in actuality, she was 28. So that leads us up to the clip I just played you. And I'll read a synopsis of that. Around 2:46 p.m. on March 16th of 2025, detectives, they conduct a traffic stop on Christina and took her into custody. They seized her phone. Detectives later searched that phone pursuant to her consent, and they found what they termed as a memoir in the notes section of her iPhone that was last updated at 10:45 a.m. on March 16th of 2025, the same freaking day she got pulled over. And then it quotes what those notes in that notes app said. And I'm going to quote the relevant parts. Quote, "I once again, from day fucking one, called your next girlfriend." And then the name is redacted out and it says girlfriend's name. "You're so fucking predictable and disgusting. Shocker. You cheated on me with her. All I was to you was somebody to fuck. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I'm not any of that. I've just lost interest. I went back and screenshotted every single time that I said we should break up until after the wedding and after you graduated. And every single fucking time you came back and convinced me it would be fine. I initiated every single breakup only for you to end things saying you couldn't get over it. You ruined us. I warned you we should have never started dating a long fucking time ago, and you gaslit me and convinced me it was fine every single time because that's who you are. We will never ever be together again. I'm not a second choice. I'm the best thing you'll ever have, even with all of my mistakes. You once again waited and strung me along until it was convenient for you. It broke me last time. This time it changed me. I'm not sad. I'm fucking mad that I let a 16-year-old fuck with me like that. And I made a promise to myself I will never let any guy fuck with me like that again. Ever. In the end, we both lost. You lost the girl who would have stuck with you through thick and thin, who would have changed everything about herself to make you happy. and I lost the person I was before I met you. Unbelievable, y'all. Unfreaking believable. This is a 16-year-old kid at this point. And further down in that notes app, there was a section titled Manifestations, and it reads, victim's name, which is redacted out, is going to reach out to me soon and try to fix things between us. In the meantime, I'm going to live my best life knowing he's not the person I thought he was and that he is beneath me. So in addition to that, detectives found another note. This was dated November 11th of 2024, which says the following in relevant part. Victim's name redacted out, and I will connect again soon in a positive way. We will both get the closure we need in order to move on in a healthy way. We will be able to be a part of each other's lives forever. We will be in each other's lives forever. We will be able to love each other while also living our own lives. Pretty damning information there.
Jim, did you see what happened in Texas today?
Wait, before you tell me that, let me tell you what happened in New York.
It cannot be as crazy as the case I told you about yesterday in Louisiana.
You know what? We should do a podcast about it.
And with that, we did. CrimeWire Weekly covers the crime news headlines that have dominated the week.
We cover trending crimes from all over the country and even sprinkle in a few globally.
CrimeWire Weekly is available now wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Simply by searching CrimeWire Weekly or clicking the link in the description of this podcast. Now, afterwards, detectives interviewed Christina Formella, and she adamantly denies having sex with this kid. According to Christina, everybody comes after her because she's good looking. She's just a good person who cared too much about, and it's redacted out. Now, in the same breath, Christina admitted that she knew her relationship was wrong, but that she was unable to stop it, she said, because she cares about him too much. So when confronted with the text messages found on this kid's phone, she claimed that one day this kid had grabbed her phone unattended, entered her password, which he allegedly knew because she said he saw her type it in her phone one day. And she said he sent the message to his phone from her phone and then deleted the message from her phone after he did that, and had saved it to his phone as blackmail. According to Christina, she had no idea these text messages even existed. So when they confronted her with these notes that they had found in her phone, Christina described those as an outlet for her anxiety. She said her anxiety was because her and this kid had opened up to each other. According to Christina, she didn't want to see this kid get into trouble like his older brother did. And Christina admitted that the entire March 16th, 2025 note was about this kid. But then she pivoted. And she said any reference to sex was about her husband, not about the kid. So when asked about the statements referencing cheating, Christina blamed the kid for cheating on her emotionally by having sex with his girlfriend. And she said that was because she cared about this kid and looked out for this kid, but they had never done anything. So throughout the interview, Christina tried to paint this kid as a stalker, and she claimed that her husband was aware. But oddly enough, her husband, when they talked to him about that, he told detectives he knew nothing about this kid beyond that he played soccer and she coached him at one point. He also confirmed that he does not go through Christina's phone. So despite her allegations against this kid, Christina did admit that she never reported anything to the administration at the school or to the kid's mother. Remember, she said this kid was practically stalking her, but she told nobody about this. So there you have that. Now, it's important to note before we go any further, Christina, at this point, she's charged with 2 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse and 1 count of sexual assault. And these are all classified as felonies in the state of Illinois. And as I told you, her story completely different than that of the victims. She claimed she was essentially set up by this victim because she was extremely attractive, and this victim formed a crush on her. It made her a target. And I'm going to load some pictures of Christina, a few on the Facebook page and several more on the Patreon for Patreon members. You're not going to get any dispute from me that this kid probably had a crush on her. Any young man, 14 or 15, would have had a crush on this teacher. She was beautiful, but she had some problems. So that's about the only thing that she probably said that was true. However, it looks to me like she was stalking this student, and we'll get into that a little further. So I'm going to play you another clip after they questioned Christina, because they weren't buying her story any more than I am and any more than you probably are. So they put her in the police car so they could take her and book her into jail, which is in another section of the building. She didn't like that too much. Here's what that sounded like.
Unless they're able to reach it down there. Sure, you don't want a tissue or something?
I'm feeling I'm gonna throw up.
You want a bag?
Yes, please.
All right. Shauna, can you grab which bag out of there?
Possibly a drunk driver. No complaints behind those.
Hey, can you get like a bag just in case she gets nauseous?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have any of those MSS bags like going around the block? I figure it's something better than nothing. Or here, if you stay with her, I'll go grab it.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
Kind of put it on the floor here, all right?
Okay.
A few paper towels on the floor here if you need it, all right?
Okay. Thank you.
So you heard that. This chick is panicking, and rightfully so. She's in a shit pile of trouble by this point. And it's interesting to note that this is March of 2025, and they didn't have any contact with each other since February of 2024. So in her mind, she's actually probably double shocked, if you will, because it's been 14 months, over a year, since they even had contact with each other. She probably thought she was in the free and clear of all of this stuff and would never be approached about this relationship after that time passed. But even though they hadn't spoken 14 months, she still had those affirmations on her phone, which she updated recently. And those affirmations really paint a picture of someone who is hoping that at some point in the future, this kid's going to surface again and they're going to renew things. She's actually trying to speak this into reality. So on March 17th of 2025, she goes into her first court hearing, and prosecutors, they push at this point to keep her locked up. They don't want her to get bail, but that didn't happen. They did give her bail. And it seemed during this time that her husband, he's standing by her side. He believes his wife's story. So she makes bail, and she has some conditions, which were no contact with minors, no entry onto school property, GPS tracking device. And another interesting thing is she couldn't go within a certain amount of feet of the victim. And it was actually 5,000 feet. But there was a problem with that in that the student worked at a facility that was less than 5,000 feet from where Christina lived. So the issue became she could not live at home with those conditions. So at some point they get to the judge and they ask him, they explain to him that her home that she lives at with her husband is less than 5,000 feet from where this kid worked. And they wanted the judge to lower the footage, if you will, to 2,500 feet so that she could live at home. And the judge says, fuck you. He denies that. And so she has to go live with her parents, who are more than 5,000 feet away from this minor, which incidentally, by this point is 17. So how did Christina start with this kid? How did this whole shit show start? How did it get to this point, etc.? Well, from what is alleged, the whole relationship started via the school messaging system, as I told you. From there, the student and Christina started communicating on an app called A Ball Pool. And look, I'm going to deviate here for a second, but in tons of these cases that I cover on bad teachers, that's how they start communicating. It's not reach out via iMessage anymore. They're smarter than that. What they do is they go through apps like this 8-ball pool where you can message while you're playing the game, and they don't play the game. They just message the whole time. And that's a grooming technique, right? Otherwise, why would a teacher want to play 8-ball pool with a 14, 15-year-old kid? So not only do some of the messages get out, but what really gets out that is shocking is that when Christina was out of town, they would FaceTime each other. Get this. Even when she was in Italy preparing for her wedding, she was FaceTiming this student. Holy smokes. How did the actual sexual relationship start? You may wonder. Well, in December of 2023, that first sexual encounter happened in the classroom before school. At that time, the student was 15, Christina was 28. Now, this was, in the perception of the public, the only time they had sex. This looked like a one-time deal. Not that that's okay and a great thing, but compared to what we're about to find out, it's a hell of a lot better. And I'm sure her husband also thought it was a one-time thing, but things would go from bad to worse for Christina. At a hearing on June 17th of 2025, Christina shows up to that hearing hand in hand with her husband. She's dressed to the nines. She looks beautiful and confident when she walked into that hearing, not so much when she walked out of it. At that hearing, Christina gets hit with another, hold on to your hat, 52 charges on top of the already 3 felonies that I told you about. So that brings the entire total to 55 counts. You're talking at this point, this girl is facing over 60 years in prison. And the most surprised person outside of Christina that all these other charges came out, probably her husband. She gets hit with an additional 20 counts of criminal sexual assault, an additional 20 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse, 6 counts of indecent solicitation of a child, and 6 counts of grooming. Now, why the jump in charges? Well, the police actually had time to build that case beyond those 2 counts. They start digging into these text messages. They start seeing a lot of wild shit taking place in those text messages. They learned that this was not a one-time thing. In fact, this was an ongoing relationship over 2 years with this student. The prosecutor said they had found thousands of text messages, and not friendly sorts of text messages or even just flirty sorts. We're talking confessions of love, plans to meet at all kinds of different places, about how they're going to keep this secret hidden from everyone. And it seemed when reviewing these texts that the initiator of all of this, to no surprise to me, was Christina Formella. And this chick was not only lying to her husband, she was also lying to this kid. She had told the kid at one point she wasn't even with Michael anymore. And this kid started pressing her on this, realizing she was lying. And then she makes this crazy claim in these texts to this kid that she had to marry Michael because he was blackmailing her with some stuff and she would go to jail if she didn't marry him. Just total made up bullshit. She went so far, in fact, with that particular lie, the police learned, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but police learned they had sex at her house several times, and she would hide anything that showed that she was still married to her husband, Michael. She would hide them in closets, under beds. You're talking like pictures of the two of them together, wedding announcements, whatever, anything to do with the marriage. When that kid went into the house, you would have thought they were divorced. She was hiding this from a 14-year-old kid. She even told this kid that she hated Michael because he was cheating on her with one of her friends, and that as soon as this kid graduated from high school, she was going to marry him and they were going to start their life together. There were videos police discovered where Christina was filming herself masturbating while looking at a picture of this kid, complete with moaning the kid's name as she orgasmed. And y'all, that's important because it proves who that video was intended for. It wasn't her husband's name. It was this kid's name. But she sends that video to the kid, and then she asked him to reciprocate and basically do the same thing, send the same thing back to her. Sick. Police said there were at least 45 sexual encounters at the school. 45! How do you even hide 45 instances of having sex with a student at your school? Does anybody have their eyes open at that school? That's crazy. They also said there were at least 5 sexual encounters that took place in her home. And police said in one instance, Michael came home unexpectedly while the student was on the way to her house. So when Michael left, she texted the student and told him, you know, it's safe. You can come on to the house. Michael's gone. Unbelievable. The police interviewed a neighbor, and he reported seeing the victim walking through Christina's backyard one day, essentially sneaking over to her house. And that neighbor's eyebrows were raised. And speaking of neighbors, at one point, Christina even texted the victim, and she said she was scared because one of her neighbors got caught doing the same thing that she was doing, referring to sleeping with someone underage. And that's important, y'all, because that proves that she knew it was wrong. She can't deny that now. Common sense would tell you she knew it was wrong, but now she can't deny it. She's got it in writing. She was scared that she may get caught doing something illegal, right? There was even a text where the student was talking to Christina about them almost getting caught by another teacher when they had sex at the school one day. It really makes your mind blown at the fact that her husband is still with her. All I can say is he's naive or he's blinded by love. I don't know what it is, but he's still with her. As a matter of fact, there were some texts that the police uncovered where Christina said to the victim that her whole plan was to marry Michael. Now, remember, a lot of this relationship was going on even before her and Michael got married, but her plan was to marry him. And when the student graduated, she was going to divorce Michael, get millions of dollars from that divorce, and then essentially the two of them could be together. And her husband knows that this stuff got uncovered, and he's still with her, at least as of her last hearing. That's the biggest mind blower to me of all. She even discussed having kids with this student. And she said in one text that if the student was incapable of having kids, I guess if he's sterile or something, she would get a sperm donor because if she couldn't have kids with the victim, she didn't want to have kids with anyone. And incidentally, I cover a lot of these cases where the police always ask, can you describe something about the teacher that only people that were having sex with her would know. The student in this case was able to do that. He confirmed that Christina had a tattoo, and this tattoo is apparently somewhere on her body you wouldn't see unless you were nude. And he confirmed it, said what it looked like, and he was right. So there's no denying it. Now, another interesting thing is, I told you at the beginning they had not had contact in 14 months, and that's true. However, the police did discover that Christina actually attempted to contact the student just 2 days before her arrest. She had emailed the student and she asked about a fight that the student had got into at school via that email. And she also allegedly attached a map to her house in that email. She was obsessed with this kid. Now, the prominent Formella family, they have even come out with a statement, and it quite honestly shocked the shit out of me. Wait till I read you this. Quote, "The public shaming of this woman accused of sexual misconduct reflects deeply embedded patterns of misogyny that have persisted across generations. Christina has become the latest target of this troubling phenomenon, subjected to relentless personal attacks and the sexist scrutiny that ignore the legal process entirely." The statement then went on to say this isn't just a double standard, it's a spectacle, a public ritual that punishes a woman not for what they've done, but for how they're perceived. Instead of discussing the facts or law, public discourse fixates on Christina's appearance, her private life, even her lipstick, as if those details bear on guilt or innocence. That's not legal analysis. It's voyeurism, moral judgment, and cruelty, excused by a self-serving performance of concern for an alleged victim. And all I can say about that is it's totally unreal, and this family is in complete fucking denial. Because of all those texts, if a video of this chick masturbating and moaning the name of a 14-year-old are not enough for you, you look like an idiot. That's my opinion. It's just unreal. It seems that they're buying into whatever bullshit story she is telling them, hook, line, and sinker, even with the video evidence. Now, Christina Formella's next court hearing is scheduled for August 4th of 2025. And it's reported that that is also a status hearing. So it'll be interesting to see if her husband is still with her at this hearing. But judging by that statement the Formella family put out, it wouldn't surprise me if he was. So that's what we got for now on this one. It's really trending all over the internet. A lot of TikToks on this one, as you could imagine. But I put all those details together and wanted to make sure that I brought it to you today. Thank you so much for listening. Please check out the Patreon page, commercial-free early releases, bonus episodes, and we're back into our regular content that we drop every week. So it won't just all be about Diddy anymore. That is until the sentencing. I will drop an episode or two covering the sentencing when that comes out late next month. Patreon.com/exposed podcast files. You can go there and we do all kinds of extra things. And it is really the main support for this show. So if you're enjoying it, please consider supporting it. CrimeWire Weekly. I've been putting previews on here. This is a podcast that I do with award-winning true crime podcaster Kelly Jennings of Unspeakable, a true crime podcast by Kelly Jennings. We discuss trending headlines as they relate to true crime throughout the week, and we drop that on Fridays. Go check it out. You need to go follow it on its own feed. So just search CrimeWire Weekly wherever you're listening, or I'll put the link in the description of this podcast. Make sure you follow it. I won't be dropping many more previews on here. So if you're enjoying that show, go check it out and follow it. And until next time, for exposed, scandalous files of the elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.